The medium-term budget policy statement, popularly known as the mini-budget, its aim to give a broad overview of how government sees things unfold over the coming 3 years when it comes to economic growth, public spending and tax revenue. Crucially, it gives a good idea of what to expect in the main budget speech in February. Now, with the economy continuing to shrink against the backdrop of a weak global economy, economists say government has no choice but to increase taxes to boost its dwindling revenues.
Company tax is under pressure at the moment, but when you look at VAT collection, you look at personal income tax, you look at the fuel levy, those areas are actually holding up reasonably well. So that gives him a little bit of breathing space, but I think he will still warn people about looming tax hikes. I don't think he will announce any tax changes in this budget. He'll wait until February next year. But I think he'll try and warn people that on the whole, we are facing additional tax increases.
Finance Minister Nene already hiked personal income tax in February. It was the first time in 20 years that personal income tax had been increased in South Africa. Economists say the move was simply not enough under the current circumstances.
We had increases in personal income tax this year. That would impact the fiscal numbers in a very positive way. But very early on in the budget for the current year, the second half of the year, this is the midpoint of that fiscal year, the second half is going to be more challenging because the economy does seem to be slipping into recession. The impact of those tax increases are probably going to wear thin.
There is now a big expectation that Nene will signal a hike in VAT, the tax paid by consumers on general items except basic foodstuffs like bread. VAT was first introduced in South Africa in 1991 at 10%. It was increased to 14% in 1993, and that's where it has stayed for the past 22 years. But now economists say that's about to change.
Government seems to be preparing the market more and more for a change in direction that we've seen with the increase in personal income tax. And I think the next tax increase is more likely now to be an increase in VAT. But that announcement is probably only going to be made in the February budget next year.
Those in favour of increasing VAT say at 14%, it remains among the lowest in the world, lower than the rest of Africa, where it's at 16%, while the average in Europe is 21%. Those against increasing VAT have long argued that it would hurt the poor most, as they spend most of their meager income on buying basic necessities. So, what Nene does with VAT will no doubt be a tough decision, which will generate a lot of debate in the country. Mbongini Mutwa, SABC News, Johannesburg.